Hello and welcome, and today we're going to tackle trees. Have you ever been frustrated by your trees? Do you find that they look not right, they look flat? No matter how you do it, they look either lollipop or they look the wrong shape. Do you find that problem? Well, what we're going to do today, we're going to solve it for you. We're going to get down and we're going to solve some of the biggest problems that go with trees in a landscape. Okay, so we're going to do deciduous trees, and we're going to start with the first one. This is one where we make mistakes. A typical amateur sort of comes into it and paints the tree, and it ends up a bit like a lollipop. So what we'll do is we'll mix some light green to start off with, a bit of lemon yellow, a bit of Prussian blue, there's a bit of yellow ochre. I'm going to put the canopy in place, like so. Try to sort of get a broken edge on the side, that's fine. Put that in, bring that down, or leave a gap or two, and then I'm going to get some darker green. Drop some darker green for the shade. I've got the light coming from the right hand side, so I'm going to put a bit of dark on one side like so, bring it down, and then I'm going to bring in the tree trunk, which is basically ultramarine and burnt umber. I'm going to put the tree trunk in like so, put that down, bring that down, and then I'm realizing I need to darken up the canopy, and that comes a tree. Okay, so there we have it. It's now dried, and can you see it's all fairly flat? It's got a little bit of shade but not a lot of definition. It's got the tree trunk in. It looks a little bit really like a lollipop. So let's have a go and see what we can do to correct this. This time I'm going to mix a similar lighter green, which is what I want, lemon yellow, Prussian blue, which I'm quite happy with. That makes a vibrant green. Earth it down with a little bit of yellow ochre. That wants to get my initial shape, and then I'm going to try and capture the shape of the tree, the canopy of the tree. And here we go, we're going to put that canopy in like so. I'm very conscious that the light is coming from the right hand side, so I'm going to put this canopy in, have a broken edge to it, a bit more of a shape, bring that down, bring it down, put a bit of shape in, as you can see I'm starting to get a little bit of shape to that tree. Have a broken edge on the outside, bring that down. Now I've got a rough feel for the canopy of the tree. I'm now going to mix some darker, which is going to be Prussian blue, yellow ochre, touch of alizarin crimson to make that a little bit of a darker green. And here we go, let's put this dark in, drop it into the shade of the tree, put this in, drop it in, conscious that I'm going to keep most of the shade on the left hand side with the light coming in from the right. I'm painting this onto a moist surface, so I'm catching that light and dark in the tree. Like so. Broken edge. And then I'm going to get my tree trunk, which is ultramarine and burnt umber or burnt sienna, either way it's a bit of a blue and a brown, and I'm going to drop this in the tree trunk, capturing that bit of shape. I'm going to drop some dark into the tree, a few branches into the tree that are showing through the gaps that I've left. Just put a few more marks, and there we are. We're getting a feel for the canopy of the tree. I'm now going to just wash my brush, squeeze it off, just put some light onto the tree trunk where the light is capturing, and then hopefully I'll lift off a little bit where the light is in parts, And there we have it. I'll put a bit of ground in. And then we have a feeling of a more representative tree, a bit of shade on the bottom. Okay, so now it's dried. What we can see here, we've got a shape to the tree, a little bit more. It's further forward. You can see some light through the tree, which you will get with a deciduous tree. You've got that little bit, few branches showing, and then you bring it down. You've got darkness on one side, and you've got a little bit more light on the other, where the light is catching the side of the tree. And then as we come down to the tree trunk, you can see that the tree trunk, not only has it got its strength to it, but it's got shape to it by the fact that I've lifted off that little bit of lightness on the sun where the light is catching, and you've got shadow on the other. So it has a much more of a three-dimensional feel and shape to it, whereas the other tree looks very much just like a lollipop. Okay, so now we've got the trees that are in the foreground. Now we're going to do some of the ones that are in the distance and how we're going to capture those in the distance. So first of all, what we're going to do is we'll do it as an amateur. We'll get our colours. We've got our green for the canopy of the tree. So I'll put the canopy tree in. It's further away, so it's going to be smaller. Put that in. And then add a little bit of shade. We'll probably think, oh, we want a bit of shade on one side, so we'll use a blue and a brown just to capture that darker green on one side. So we'll put that in. And then we'll use a tree trunk colour, which we had earlier, which is blue and a brown, and we'll bring that down and put that in for the distance. And that becomes a sort of amateur equivalent of a more distant tree. Put a bit of land in as well, like I did before. Put it on the ground and we'll let that dry. So now we've got our distant tree. Now you can see how that's dried. We've got that sort of shape to it, that canopy, and then we've got that lower piece of the tree trunk. Unfortunately, what we've ended up doing, we've used the same colour mix as we've done for the foreground tree. So rather than it looking a distant tree, what it actually does, it looks like it's small and in the foreground. But we've kept the shape very simple to give the impression it's in the distance, but actually all it does, it looks like a bit of a lollipop tree in the foreground. So which is not the effect we want. So what we need to do is not only are we going to paint the tree simpler, but also we're going to use colours in the right way. So we're going to use colour perspective. So in order to use colour perspective, we need to make sure that the canopy is a much more of a bluer colour to it. So what I've got here, I'm going to mix yellow ochre and cobalt blue to create a more blue distant canopy. And that's going to be crucial. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on I'm going to do it here, and I'm going to put this canopy in place. Put it in a bulbous way, but also allow for me to be able to put my tree trunk in and put some of the branches in as well, which will give it a more believable distant feel. I'm going to put a little bit more blue in there. Let that soak in. That's the canopy. And then I'm going to mix the tree trunk. Now the tree trunk this time I'm going to use again cobalt blue because it's in the distance, and a burnt umber. And here we go. I'm just letting that soak in. Put these small little bits of branches that are coming through in the distance of and then join them up into the tree trunk. Like so. Bring it down. Put a little bit of an old shape to it, so it doesn't have to be just a continuous nice neat shape. All these trees tend to have a little bit of character of their own about them, so let's get that character in. Put that in, and then that becomes the general feel for the tree. And what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of ground in there. Now, not only have we got a tree, but we've got one that has effectively, I'll just lift off a little bit of lightness in parts, particularly on but keep it very simple, not a lot more to it. And there we are, we'll let that dry. So there we have it, the two different types of trees. One done I was rather disappointed with. Actually, it's not turned out particularly too badly in the end, but nevertheless it's a very simplistic lollipop with a little bit of colour, all diffused, and then the tree trunk. This one has got a little bit more shape to it. You've got that few edges on it, you've got that sense of the tree trunk coming through the branches, and then we've also got some shape on the tree trunk itself, which gives it that little bit more definition, all done in bold colours. Then we've got the distant tree. Well, in this case the distant tree is a lollipop with a little bit of a tree trunk, as you can see, using strong colours. Now it's the strength of the colour is wrong because it wants to be in the distance, so we need to make sure we get that colour right. So what I've done in the correct tree, I've used a more of a blue canopy, as you can see. Compare that one with the foreground tree, you can see the difference, blue canopy, and then I've used a joining up for the tree trunk, and I put the tree trunk in the distance, just keeping it simple, but you can see the light coming through. All in all, a much better and more convincing distant tree. Okay, so there we are, some simple trees using shape and colour perspective to create some foreground trees and some distant trees, and hopefully you can compare them with some simple mistakes. You can see how we can make some really effective trees. Now if you use these simple techniques, hopefully over a period of time you'll be able to really develop some stunning landscapes. So I hope you've enjoyed that. We've also got a watercolour starter guide which we've developed. It's got some 5 simple steps which you can use, and it will help to develop your watercolour, and it's in the link below. All you need to do is click and link and download it, and it's yours forever, and I hope you'll find it useful. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That gets us picked up for a wider audience. So all in all, I hope you enjoyed that Fix It Friday. This is our second of our Fix It sessions, and without further ado, I'm just going to say enjoy and keep painting.